Well, hello, good evening, one and all. Welcome to the inaugural race here tonight of W1 Sim Series. George Morgan here, back on your screens this time for a different league, different concept. I'm also joined by the brilliant Tom Knight. They call me TK as well. We call him TK all the time. TK, we're back, and this time, slightly different colouring, slightly different premise, but it's league racing, and we're here for it.
It absolutely is. We've traded blue for purple, and I'll tell you what, the racing, I'm sure, will remain just as competitive as we're used to on a traditional Wednesday night. But I'm thrilled to be here alongside you, thrilled to go racing for what is our inaugural race here in W1.
And can I just say, it has been an extraordinary journey putting this together. Of course, the first hushings of this league were first conceived last year. Obviously, I had the privilege of being asked to commentate for Sky Sports for the Women's Races E-Series that was formed in the early stages of last year. Obviously, we ran through a qualification phase that then lined up the grid for the grand finale. Funny enough, at Sky Studios, they had this fantastic event with rigs decorating the entire room. The drivers then took the helm and gave us a show live on screen with a live audience as well, and it was a privilege to bring that to you guys. Unfortunately, that has now since come to an end. Of course, we've no longer got the Women's Races E-Series, so I suddenly said to the drivers, I said, listen, why don't you league race? What's going on? And they said they just don't have the avenue. So we took it upon ourselves to put W1 Series together in a bit of trying to open up an avenue of entry to the league racing scene. So here it is, folks. You've been introduced to W1 Series. Great to be here. Of course, TK, we're heading to Silverstone, and where better to go for a first race than the track that initialised the Formula One World Championship?
Absolutely correct. The home of British motorsport, and one that actually sits right behind me on my shelves, if you've seen in previous broadcasts. It is one of the great circuits, if not the greatest circuit in all of Formula One. And it's going to be the battleground for the opening pre-season race here in W1 as well. And it just feels like a match made in heaven.
It absolutely does. Obviously, we have got some fantastic drivers lining up on the grid. And I must say, for an initial burst here at Silverstone, 11 will be taking to the track. We're going to see all 10 teams represented on the grid this time. But I want to impress on this fact. Now, we weren't sure the kinds of numbers we would receive for a league like this, but we have had 24 sign-ups since we announced this, which I have to say is absolutely phenomenal. So a credit to every single driver taking to the track here tonight and everyone who has signed up. We've got a huge feast for your ears and eyes, folks. Qualifying is about to get underway as well, so we will be bringing you all the action. But 24 sign-ups, TK, that's a nice way to start.
It's absolutely fantastic. And as we are saying this, there is more and more people joining the Discord. I think we've had 3 or 4, if not many more this afternoon. I've been at work, so I haven't been able to keep as much track as I would have liked. But it is so many people constantly joining. And if you are sat at home going, oh, this sounds like a really cool idea, I want to come race, join the Discord. I believe the link should be in the description, just down below. But come get involved, because it is going to be a fantastic community and a fantastic, place to be around, essentially.
Yeah, absolutely is. We have got some names that many of you, I'm sure, are familiar with. Jessica Ball, who we caught up with as well earlier on today. You might have seen her interview on our social media channels as well. Keen to race once again and embracing the Red Bull livery. Jess has been a peripheral figure for women across the board in the league racing scene for many, many, many years. Also a commentator as well. Has also taken part in the Rocked the Rig Championship, or the insertion that was put in by Red Bull, hence the livery she's racing in tonight, and we'll be looking to deliver a brilliant result. We've also got Melanie as well. That's a name we're familiar with as well, TK. Obviously, Melanie Jander, the Dutch woman who is looking to take to the track in the Scuderia Ferrari, and she can be dangerous on her day too.
She absolutely can. Dangerous in the good way. Let's just point that out for half a second.
In a good way.
She is exactly one of those drivers that when they hit the circuit and when they find that pace are absolutely stonkingly quick in a race car. And we've seen it both, in the open lobby she hosts over on social media, but also in the Creator Series where she's had races in seasons gone by, and one of those drivers that has such a good attitude towards the series as a whole. Yeah,
she has been absolutely superb. We have got Amy Hoxer. Now get this, all the way from Albania, TK. Amy Hoxer taking part here this evening. Now, a nation you very rarely hear coinciding in the world of motorsport, but Amy Hoxer by far, I'm sure, is going to literally light up the time screens. Only recently, as far as the last couple of years, getting into sim racing, but has really taken the bull by the horns on this and is really looking to strike somewhat of an imposition on everyone else amongst the grid here. 11 cars, of course, in this classification, but the Mercedes now looking to light up the timing screens, and already Amy Hoxer going purple inside the first sector with a 27.223 to kick us off. Elsewhere, plenty of other times rumbling on in. Another 27 being ushered in by Jessica Ball inside the first sector, and a 27.3 from Emma Clay is now Amy Hoxer, of course, being the first driver to set a lap. She is now purple again inside the middle sector, but Lee Woodward just stealing that first sector purple by 14 thousandths, TK.
Yeah, and it's worth remembering as well, these are just the opening laps. I'm sure the times will get quicker and quicker as we proceed through. It is a short qualifying session, so ignore what it says in the top left-hand side of your screen. This is not your traditional Q1, Q2 and Q3 format. It's just 18 minutes of fast-paced action, as we have 2 times across the board. Jess Ball in second with the 27 flat. Amy Hoxer, though, 26.5 to kick off the chase at target for the rest of our drivers.
And we're going to witness as well Sarah Hardy coming around the final corner. Cutie Bunny, 25 as shown on our timing screen, but invalidating the run and will have to go again if she wants to enforce a lap time of her own. Lee Woodward, who I mentioned, going purple inside the first sector earlier on, now making their way down through towards the final corners. Of course, this is Sharkstorm 390. I do apologise, actually looking on my screen, the database not quite aligning as I would like it to, but Sharkstorm coming up towards the line, going second fastest, just in behind Amy Hoxer. So that is now between them just over 2.25 tenths of a second between Amy Hoxer and Sharkstorm, and ahead of Jessica Ball and Emma Clay. Down in fourth fastest, Melanie J&D going into fifth. We're going to be seeing the return of Heather as well. Heaver coming into this, and currently sat, as you can see, 7th on your timing screen. McLaren, one of the few teams with 2 drivers on the grid this time.
You're certainly right, and one team. Obviously, there's no Constructors' Championship necessary to worry about at the moment. This is just to get the drivers afoot and get themselves running in the opening rounds of the season. The 3 pre-season races that we will be hosting, both tonight and I believe Wednesday next week, and another date on December 10th. So those are your ones for your calendars to keep an eye out for. Heather, as she does self-describe herself, it's Heather in a British accent, according to her Twitch bio, and that's how you're meant to pronounce that name.
Well, I think she is definitely spot on with that. It's a good way, actually, of getting it right. I have to say, well done to Heather for that. Or Heaver, or Heather, as she's known as. Heather. Currently down in 7th place, looking to rumble in the first time, or her first time at least, to kick things off. 29.005 inside the first sector, met with a 39.4 in sector 2. And it's going to need to put a really big staunch effort inside that final sector to get close to Amy Hoxer at the top of the shop, who has certainly enlisted her own statements that she is going to aim to dominate the W1 series, as now Heaver notches together a 135.7 to kick her session off. Emma Dempsey about to make her way back out onto the track, currently 9th fastest for now, yet to enlist a time. Charlie as well down in 11th place, also looking to go out for an outlap as well. But Heaver is going to have to try and rein that gap in if she wants to try and strike inside that top 5.
Absolutely, and has been learning no assist in recent broadcasts and recent streams. It's one thing that she's trying to overcome, shall we say, that a lot of league races, especially in the grassroots leagues, let's put it that way, still run with many assists, and to turn them off is a massive jump to learn. So all fair play to want to gain that understanding of how the car handles, but you unlock so much time when you want to turn those assists off, because you can find extra tenths with the car not fighting as much as you would have like against. You've got the driver down in P8 by the username of Cutie Bunny. Of course, that's Sarah Hardy running through the second sector into the third at the moment. Sets 37.4 in the middle sector, so getting closer to those times amongst the top.
Yeah, she is. It's a personal improvement on her part, so this could very see her improve, but she's decided to come into the pits for a little rethink, so will not be registering that new time just yet. But she still has, keenly enough, 11 minutes to register a time. We have had already Annie Kravis, who is now into 6th fastest in the Alpine as well. Alpine, much like McLaren, also with 2 drivers on the grid. Emma Dempsey also making her way around the track as well once more. We mentioned her earlier on, and now looking to ferry in some decent laps of her own. The middle sector not quite so good though. The last time around it was a 53.7. My guess is that she backed out of it in preparation for yet another run. But now Dempsey coming through, as now we see what looks to be, I think that was a Mercedes of Amy Hoxer, just taking evasive action, allowing Emma Dempsey to have that clean air.
Yeah, allowing Dempsey and both Charlie as well. Of course, Charlotta Marchi, I apologise if I butchered that surname somewhat slightly, but in the second sector, according to the game, as a purple first sector, but running a 28.2 is still an incredibly valid lap time for the first set of runs for the second McLaren as it's running here this afternoon. So there is still time to find. And of course, as we expect that track to ramp up, my apologies, as it sits about 33 degrees at the moment, we are expecting those times again still to get quicker towards the end, with just shy of 10 minutes to go.
Yeah, well, we're running on board now with Emma Dempsey coming through Maggots and Beckett's, unleashing the power of this RB now back on the throttle. Fifth gear up to 6 now. She now tackles the long hanger straight before heading into Stowe Corner, where she'll look to hit then the final sector proper and register an even faster time. 28.6, 37.7 here from the Irish superstar. Looking to enlist a decent time to kick things off here before the final 9 minutes get underway. She's going to whip the tail out now, coming out of Club Corner now. Let's see where the RB goes. How high can she climb? 6th fastest, just ahead of Anna Krevis. But Charlie immediately pops in now in the McLaren with a P6 time, 1:29.932.
Just keeping an eye on all of our sector times amongst all of our different drivers. 3 different purple sectors for 3 different drivers. Amy holding the fastest second. We've got Sharkstorm holding the fastest first sector, and Jess Ball hosting the fastest third sector at the moment. So it is interesting to see that there are certain sectors that each of the drivers feels that she is quicker at than the rest of the field.
Yeah, absolutely right. We've got Jessica Ball actually now looking to thunder her way down in towards the final corners here on this new lap. Personal bests in the first 2 sectors. She found 23 thousandths in the first. Amy Hoxer has just applied a near 10th and a quarter on top of her personal best as well. But Jess Ball responds and sends in a 1:26.448. That's a brilliant time to fire back against Amy Hoxer. But Hoxer has found a purple first sector. And dare I say, like I said prior, a 10th and a quarter near enough from Amy Hoxer, the Albanian. Looking to encourage yet further grandeur coming through the middle sector. It is going to be the S's and Maggots and Beckett's where she looks to find the time, but currently she is well and truly at home here in W1.
He absolutely is. Setar Elvid as well, crossing the line in the Aston Martin to go 5th fastest overall with just under 8 minutes to go. The Mercedes got a bit of a tow as they ran up the hill towards the penultimate few corners, down towards Club and Stowe they'll run. And the impressive improvements are continuing to climb. Purple in the first, purple in the sector, George. They've got 1 corner to go to try and round it, to try and reclaim that top spot of the standings. Crosses the line, and a monumental gap between themselves and Jessica Ball as the first driver into the 1:25s.
Wonderful time from Amy Hoxer. Purple across all 3 sectors. She thundered in a ton plus. That means a 10th of a second plus inside that final sector as well. An almighty near 5.5 tenths found in that 1 lap alone, and that now means that she is in control of provisional pole, albeit for now. Great effort from Amy Hoxer as now Sharkstorm 390 goes into second. That is a brilliant time on her part as well. So that's second fastest for the Haas. Jess Ball into the pits as we now await Emma Clay to also continue on her lap. We've also got personal improvements from Emma Dempsey as of her last lap. But unfortunately did not register it. Heaver out on track as well. She's managed to go green inside the middle sector also. But the times are continuing to cascade down as we would expect, TK.
Absolutely. The track is still sitting quite comfortably at 33 degrees. Air temperature about 23, so a nice brisk summer's day here at Silverstone, for albeit you can get here in Great Britain. So most of our drivers relinquishing in the sunshine that is bestowing itself down on Silverstone. Keeping an eye on Cutie Bunny, though, as they come in towards the final few corners now, looking to set their first valid lap time of the session in the Alpine. Keeping it nice and calm down towards Stowe and Club Corner. Get the car nice and rotated in as they go around the double right-hander towards the end. Of course, it is sometimes quicker to go through the pit lane, as we both know. But across the line for the Alpine, sends that car 7th fastest with a 1:29.837.
Decent improvement as well to go higher inside that top 10, just behind Melanie at this stage. Of course, Melanie Jander in the Ferrari currently sat 6th fastest for now. But it's immense to see how competitive this has truly proven to be already. We've got Heather now coming through the final corners, also coming out of Stowe in the Papaya McLaren. 1:35.7 was her last time, but she found an almighty 2.8 seconds inside that middle sector. So she is working to try and grind it, but she spins the rear of the tyres. The rear tyres getting out from underneath her, and the McLaren is all pieces coming through the final bend. So that's unfortunate for Heather. She is round and now needs to self-right herself in a bid to try and recover in the final few minutes.
That is absolute heartbreak, because the time she was setting in the first and second sectors were on par with those right at the top of the table. So if she can manage to just wipe those woes aside and go again for another lap, I have no doubt that we will see that McLaren probably within the top 6 or 7 drivers. But as it stands, just one thing I want to note for the broadcast, the top 4 drivers all within a second of one another, second through fourth, covered by less than a quarter of a second here, George.
Yeah, it's stunning. That's exactly what we hope to see as well from these women who are now taking to the grid here on F1 25. It's a pleasure to watch Amy Hoxer with the fastest time so far, a 125.9 that is yet to be usurped. No one else touching the 25 so far. She is certainly in a world of her own for now, but there's only half a second between the top 2. You've got to think that. Plus, with the improving track conditions, we've still got 4 minutes and 30 left in the session. Anything can happen at this point. We've got personal bests coming in now from Emma Dempsey. She finds 5,000s inside Sector 1 as well, so more to come here from the Irish driver representing Racing Bulls, looking to try and jump past Carlotta Marchetta as well from the McLaren team, who is holding station in 8th fastest for now, ahead of her teammate Hevo's down in 11th place for now, as we now wait as Dempsey comes through the lefts and rights. Just got to dial in Maggots and Beckett's, haven't you, TK?
Yeah, you absolutely do. It's one of those sequence of corners on this circuit that can make or break a lap time, and we've seen it time and time again, where you get one slight adjustment in that corner wrong and it just unsettles the entire car, even on a run up the hill as you head down towards Stowe and Vale. They're the sort of corners that are just paramount to get right in this circuit.
Yeah, we're coming down now in towards the final corners here. Emma Dempsey looking to land a big time to improve, to not just remain in P9, aim for higher echelons in this classification. Can she? Not quite. Still remains in 9th fastest, but there was time lost in that final sector, and that's where it all went wrong. She gained an almighty 2 tenths in the middle sector, but she lost over 2.5 tenths. So all those gains she had in the first 2 sectors were mitigated in that final sector, TK.
Yeah, and you've got to now take yourself on a bit of a relaxation tour. You've got to make yourself prepared for your final run. We're getting down to the final stages of this qualifying session, so just under 3 minutes to go. An opportunity to reset, go for one final lap and try and blow everything out the water. But you've got to get everything of that car ticking to perfection, the tyres to the correct temperature, but you've also got to be sat in that cockpit thinking, right, I've got the ability, the passion, the knowledge to be able to go for this one final run. And that is where you start to unlock times that you never thought were possible.
Yeah, obviously Melanie Jander will also be looking to try and encourage better lap times as well. She currently sits down in 6th place, but only minute margins away from Sata Elvin as well in 5th place. So more to come from every single driver on this grid. 2 minutes and 22 or so to go. Melanie Jander, the Dutch driver, coming through Stowe corner. The energy light, though, flashing on the back of the Ferrari, so obviously coming into the pits for a rethink, but she's going to have to certainly jump out straight away if she's looking to close out at least one final lap. We've already got a few drivers going out in these final stages. There's not a lot of time left now, TK.
Certainly not. They are going to be cutting it close towards the beam. They've got an opportunity. They'll have about 30 extra seconds or so to be able to just relax, get the tyres up to temperature, work them mainly down the hangar straight as you come into Stowe, because after that point, you don't really want to take your foot off the gas. It is going to be a full pelt to the line to make sure that car is running absolutely optimal. But everywhere else, as you run down the likes, the Wellington Straight through Magus Beckett's, you've got an opportunity just to warm the car in ways that you wouldn't have on a hot lap.
Yeah, no, that's right. See out laps now well and truly underway for Sharkstorm 390. Jessica Ball as well as Emma Clay. Satar Elvin as well down in 5th place, with Cutie Bunny down in 7th as well. So in come the final times now. We're within the final 2 minutes. We're now nearly within the final minute in itself. Short qualifying, remember, it's no Q2 or Q3. It comes down to one session to decide your fate in terms of where you sit on the grid. We can just see personal best coming in, actually, funnily enough, further down as well. So we've got drivers improving elsewhere, namely the McLaren of Charlie 22. She's managed to enlist already just over 4 tenths improvement inside that first sector. So for Carlotta Marchetta, this is looking really strong.
It absolutely is an opportunity as Melanie retires, decides maybe a little bit out of order from what they would have expected through this session, so won't have that opportunity to hit the track at prime opportunity, well, at prime time.
Yeah, well, in comes now Carlotta coming through the final few corners now. Remember, like I said, she was over 4/10 up inside the first. She lost time in the middle sector, but she might be able to gain time in the final. It's now or never here because we are on the final lap soiree, and she does gain time. She moves up into 7th place, ahead now of Cutie Bunny. Emma Dempsey down in 9th and is in the pits, so will not come out with another lap, that's for sure. We got other drivers improving as well. Lee Woodward currently sat in P2 right now. Should I say Sharkstorm 390 coming through the final corners here, just getting onto the curve though, and that's surely going to hamper that final lap. No improvements there from her. She remains second fastest behind Amy Hoxer, who is still looking to try and find improvements. Emma Clay looking to thunder in an improved time. She has already found over a 10th.5 inside the first sector, but has lost 8 thousandths in the middle. Improvements also from Nicole Machuca as well, down in 5th place. So plenty of times now could yet find green once again. Here comes now the Williams, looking across the stripe once more for the final time. It was a 126.6 before. Emma Clay will improve a little bit, not quite 2/10 off. She remains down in 4th. No changes there. Jess Ball's improving. There's improvements everywhere, TK.
There absolutely is. Heather's coming up towards the line, improves by 3.6 seconds, gets within touching distance of our other drivers. Just a note on Emma Clay, though, lost the car as she was heading through Stowe Corner. The rear end just deciding to kick out, and that is what's lost her the 2/10 or so that she was hoping to try and gain up on Sharkstorm and Amy Hoxker. But Jess Ball now through the final set of corners as she heads in towards Club Corner, looking to improve from 3rd position. Comes across the line, doesn't so. Misses out by about 4/10 of a second. The Aston Martin behind of Setar Elvin equally cannot go faster on this occasion. So we've got 2 drivers left out there, Charlie and Amy, who made the beam by just the barest of margins and has invalidated her run, George.
Yeah, Amy's invalidated, but I don't think it's going to matter. She has taken provisional pole and she knows it. The celebration's in full swing for Amy Hoxer. The Albanian star has come away and become W1's first ever pole sitter ahead of our social event here this evening at Silverstone. What a way to kick things off. She has done it. Amy Hoxer, who only started racing in the last couple of years, has been ferrying through her own content and has now arrived at Silverstone, delivering a pole position here in the W1 series to kick us off. Sharkstorm 390 will sit in 2nd place. A grand effort from all involved. It was a huge battle, and the gap certainly displaying that we do have a close grid here. It was Lee Woodward, though, who finished in 2nd spot. And further back, Jessica Ball in 3rd. There are your confirmed results. Amy Hoxer in 1st place, ahead of Sharkstorm in 2nd. We have Jessica Ball in 3rd, ahead of Emma Clay, who put in a great performance towards the end. Setar Elvin in 5th as well, with Melanie Jander down in 6th. We then have Charlie down in 7th place, Cutie Bunny down in 8th, then Emma Dempsey, Anna Crevice, and Heather down in 11th place, but getting closer to that group at the front. A certainly busy qualifying session, but a brilliant one to commence our display. In the meantime, before we discuss qualifying, here's a few words from Jessica Ball.
Jess Ball, also known as Jess Games 95 online, and I'm going to be racing in the inaugural W1 League. I am really excited that this league has been established for women. The last time I raced in an all-women league is during the Women Esports Finals, and it was a really great experience getting to race against other women who want to share the same goal to break down the barriers of women in sim racing. And it's great that this league is already catering to find more women in sim racing that just want to have a bit of fun and race against each other competitively. The first social race around Silverstone is going to be a lot of fun. It's a track that holds a special place in my heart. It was a track where I won my first ever league racing championship back earlier on in the summer, and I still get emotional to this day thinking about it because of all the battles that I had. My expectations for the race this evening is to really raise awareness that women can actually sim race and actually be good doing it. I would also like to hopefully finish in the top 5 this evening and have some great battles around one of my favourite tracks.
Well, there we have it. Jessica Ball just giving us some insight as to her hopes heading into the first W1 event. And obviously one of her favourite tracks. She put on a good show as well. 3rd fastest come the end of that as well, TK. Not a bad place to start. And I got to give credit where credit's due. Amy Hoxer proving that all the, I suppose, the punches she wasn't pulling in the Discord she was spot on. I mean, absolutely tremendous effort in qualifying, and obviously sat on her own in the 125s, albeit we're only talking half a second or so between them. You know, that can easily sway moving through to the race, but a great, stance of initiative on part of Amy Hoxer.
Absolutely, and it was a fantastic qualifying from them. You could see the celebrations, and I can only imagine the joy in the cockpit. They were pretty much drifting the car through Club Corner because they were so excited to claim that first pole position, and rightly so. It's a momentous occasion to be able to take that first pole in this pre-season before we get into any of the racing endeavours. But as you said, qualifying is one thing. We then have 26 laps of racing for our drivers to endure. We now head on to the more marathon aspect of a Formula One race weekend.
Yeah, and just to be clear as well, folks, we are doing the official, I like to call it the official, league racing distance, 50% racing, which means there's going to be an essence of strategy thrown into this as well, TK. Now, whereas me and you generally commentate on the current F1 sim racing grid, generally speaking, I mean, this is a different set of affairs, a different style of league racing as a whole, obviously, an addition, if you will, to the current crop that we see for now, which is great because it means we're thundering in a new audience base for league racing. Obviously, this means that we're probably going to see something a little bit off the cuff, perhaps a little bit unorthodox, really, on a strategical standpoint.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. When we have those traditional F1 sim racing drivers that pretty much sit in a train for 99% of the race, they pit roughly around the same lap. I wouldn't be surprised if we do see a little out-of-the-box strategy here, and you never know, it could absolutely work when we see maybe an undercut gone, or maybe a double stop, or a two-stop strategy for some of the drivers, because it can be something that's a little bit out there. The gap and the difference that opens up these possibilities. Who knows what we're actually going to see here this afternoon?
Yeah, you simply don't know, folks. That is the beauty of where it comes to league racing as a whole. You simply don't know what the answer is going to be, but we are going to try and decipher it for you anyway. Obviously, we want to talk to you a little bit also about the calendar and what is to come as well, folks, because we have got a grand schedule coming up in terms of social race action. Of course, this isn't necessarily the mainstay season of W1 Series. That's going to kickstart in January of 2026. But in the meantime, just for you guys to shoot the breeze and see what we're cooking up behind the scenes, this is how the calendar looks. We're here at Silverstone here tonight on the 21st of November. Our next race comes up on Wednesday. It's not Friday next week. Be sure to come back on Wednesday, the 26th of November, where we'll go racing at Monza at the Temple of Speed. And then the final social race on the 10th of December. As we get closer to Christmas, we are then fully locking in to the new year, where we go racing for real in January for points. So quite a nice variation, and I would say probably three of the most notorious landmarks in motorsport, really, TK.
Yeah, especially within Formula One, the big three. You've got Silverstone, Monza, obviously the Temple of Speed, one of the fastest tracks on the Formula One calendar. And of course, we then head to Red Bull Ring, another very fast-flowing circuit that is going to be, and probably provide, some absolutely fantastic racing. I'm very much looking forward to it. I'm sure the people at home are very much looking forward to it. And if they are looking forward to it, they should hit that follow button so they don't miss the notifications when we go live next.
Yeah, you absolutely do not want to miss anything, folks. I'll make sure, because you've seen my activities where it comes to tagging people in Discords. I am a machine when it comes to that. But yeah, it's listen, side effect of trying to make sure drivers sign up. But to be honest with you, it was difficult to manage because we had so many sign-ups coming through in a short period of time. You had to remind new people always, which is actually a great position to be in. Shouldn't complain. This is good. But yeah, no, it's fantastic. 24 drivers signing up ahead of the first season of W1, which is fantastic, folks. You will get to find out as to who's in that first official grid lineup when we move through into January. Of course, the social races, the cars are picked at random pretty much to kick things off. When it comes down to January and we are locked in for the first official season, we will see drivers getting assigned proper seats ahead of the full season campaign, which we think is going to be around about a 10 race calendar. Obviously, the beauty, like we said, we speak, wax lyrical about the typical short qualifying. Obviously, generally in PSGL, it's full qualifying, TK, but even with short quali and a 50% race, it really does put the spotlight on certain talent sometimes. Who is going to manage those situations the best?
It absolutely does, and I think with a few exceptions that I think we've mentioned before, it is going to be that stereotypical race weekend for many leagues, all the way from grassroots up towards the likes of PSG LF2, for example, is going to be that short qualifying 50% race that is a standard across the board now for several number of years. So our drivers have an opportunity not only to understand or show off their talents here, but then it takes this knowledge and the understanding that they've gained from this series from W1 and then be able to translate it into the likes of PSGL if they want to then go compete at a different level.
Yeah, obviously just to highlight as well, folks, the top four in that qualifying, just to talk about some of the qualities we have on this grid, barely separated by just over 7.25 tenths of a second, so not a bad place to be. Emma Clay, I think there was more in Emma Clay's lap, to be quite honest with you, Tom. Definitely some improvements coming through the first two sectors. She lost a bit in the final sector, but she's within that 7.5 tenth of a second gap. I think if you're that close and you've got more in your locker, Amy Hoxer surely can't rest on her laurels.
No, and I think she'd be silly to as we head into a race here, because as you said, DRS is a very strong factor at Silverstone as we head into the race situation. You've got a number of DRS zones, but actually you've got to look at the corners that exit those DRS zones. You've got the likes of Stowe, you've got the likes as we head down in towards Copse Corner that isn't necessarily the end of a DRS zone, but a very fast straight that is going to pay dividends to those that get the straight line speed from the slipstream and from the toe. So you've really got to watch your mirrors and keep an eye on the approaching speed of cars behind you.
You absolutely do. Let's take a look at where we are going tonight once again. Obviously, Silverstone, the canvas for this piece of artistry we're about to see now as we go racing for a 50% extravaganza. Folks, remember, pit stops are applied as normal. It's down to the drivers to manage as to when they decide to come in and pit for a different set of tyres. But we are going to be racing around this iconic track, the home of British motorsport. I call it the Earl Grey of world motorsport. 5.891 kilometres. Of course, over a standard 100% distance, you're talking 52 laps in total. But Lewis Hamilton still holding on to that lap record around this circuit of a 127.369, a former RAF airfield, but provides now some thunderous action in the world of Formula One and has done since 1950. And it also provides the canvas for W1's first ever race here tonight, TK.
It absolutely does. They often say history is made at Silverstone, and I think tonight embodies that fact that it is going to be our first outing of a many outings that we've got planned, not only in pre-season, but of course as the calendar enters the first season, and I'm sure many seasons after that, because this is not going to be something that has one season and, you know, falls off a cliff or goes into the woodwork, shall we say, but it's something that wants to carry on into the future and hopefully over multiple game cycles.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, as you can see, it's a bright sunny day here at Silverstone. No threats of rain. We're about to see a phenomenal race, and we can't wait. The light's now going red. Coming in quite thunderously, actually, now. So they all line up on the grid, and they go out. It's pedal to the metal, and it's go! Go, 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 go! We're underway in W1 for the first time in the social race, and it's Amy Hoxer who leads the way from pole position. Jessica Ball getting a brilliant start. Moves into second now ahead of Emma Clay, who's in third this time. No longer in fourth. Big crash, though, coming through in towards the heavy braking zone around turn 3 and turn 4. Satar Elba just missing the braking point ever so slightly, and it's allowed Charlie to move through into fourth place as now Lee Woodward moves up into fifth.
I think Emma Dempsey got caught out by the lights going so quickly. I'm not sure whether they had the full 2 minutes they were told to prepare themselves, but that V-car did not move off the line, so they are going to start this race at somewhat of a disadvantage here.
Yeah, well, Lee Woodward around the outside now, side by side now, but Carlotta not allowing any moves. Charlie in control now as Jessica Ball goes for the lead now, heading in towards Copse, looking down the inside on Amy Hoxer. Red Bull and Mercedes meet again at Copse, here at Silverstone once more. This time, though, Hoxer with the upper hand as now Emma Clay looks to come in and join the fight.
He absolutely does, taking advantage of these two cars in front of her, continuing to fight. And we go down what will be our first or second DRS zone, but of course not enabled on lap 1 of the Grand Prix. Jess Ball doesn't feel she needs DRS. She looks to the inside as they head towards Stoke Corner, backs out at the final time of asking. And Amy Hoxer just holds on to the lead at the moment, but that Red Bull has certainly found pace in this opening lap.
Yeah, she certainly has. Jess Ball, who has raced here many times, Sharkstorm going wheel to wheel again with Charlie as they continue to fight over fourth, and it will be Lee Woodward who pops into fourth place now as Amy Hoxer, as you would expect, posts the fastest lap, and Charlie's round. My goodness me, the rear tyre spinning. And that's allowed Cutie Bunny, Melanie Jander to move into 7th as well, and Annie Crevice moves into 8th as well by extension. But a furious start here in the first 2 laps, TK.
So here's Emma Dempsey as well. Her race gone from bad to worse. The tyres just kicking up whatever dirt was left over there in the Exeter Club corner. So the V-Cop now 10 seconds off the back of the McLaren of Heather as they work their way through. But Jess Ball's gone for the lead of the race, dove down the inside as they headed into Brooklands and through Larfield. Amy's trying to look around the outside, has a bit of overspeed, but the Red Bull just hugging that inside line. And unfortunately, the Mercedes can do nothing about that.
Fantastic racing between the front two here as well. Emma Clay, you just get the sense she's waiting for a mistake to happen. Again, Amy Hoxer looking to the inside. The Albanian sensation now down in second place. Emma Clay just drifting slightly wide of the mark. Remember, of course, we do have strict track limits onboarded for these drivers. They can't afford to break the white lines that are outside the circuit. If they go too wide, they will get penalised. And Amy Hoxer, who's trying to use everything, all of the grey stuff out on circuit right now to overtake Jessica Ball. She's going to look up the inside again, and again the lead changes hands on the same lap, but a switchback from Jessica Ball, and she reclaims P1 here on lap 2.
Absolute magic being shown as they headed in towards Stone Vale Corner. This is fantastic racing amongst the top two, and I'm going to reiterate what you said earlier. I think Clay's just sat there waiting for a mistake to happen. They are more than comfortable sat watching these front two fight, because I'm sure it's a fantastic show that they're getting to see as well.
Yeah, no doubt. Again, another heavy braking zone awaits, and again, Jess Ball has to have her wits about her, because Amy Hoxer has been trying her every which way. Of course, Ball did exactly the same, hence why she leads this race right now. After the move on lap 2, very nearly got undone as well by Hoxer coming in towards Stowe, but just left it out a bit wide, and therefore Jess was able to utilise the use of the switchback and undercut to make her way back through into the lead of the race. But we're on lap 3 of 26. I tell you what, if we're going to be like this right through to lap 26, we're going to be in for a real treat. Me and TK might have to have a voice transplant.
We certainly might do indeed. Just to keep you updated on tyres, I'll have a look after we head in towards Cops Corner, because it looks like Amy could have had a bit of a run, but deciding to just wait for the time being. No repeat of 2021 happening once again on our screens. It's a real mix of tyres for our drivers, half of which opting for the mediums to go a little bit longer, others opting for the softs to try and get that initial run off the line. But at the moment, Sharkstorm is now using those soft tyres to catch up to the back of this leading train of 3. And actually, the Haas is well planted to try and make a move should an opportunity present itself.
Oh, an opportunity might present itself to Amy Hoxer. She had a look down the inside then. Some aggressive manoeuvring there from the Mercedes, trying to get past Jess Ball, and Emma Clay getting closer to the action. And all this actually allowing Lee Woodward, Sharkstorm 390, to come into the fight here. So what has been largely a 2-3 is now become a 4-car extravaganza here on lap 4. So quite prudent, as now Amy Hoxer goes purple in that final sector. Some furious times being thundered in, but you can't separate the front two right now.
You can't. There is some glue holding these two together at the moment, and as you said, Sharkstorm is slowly pulling themselves back into contention, making this trio a quartet as we head through lap 4, rather aptly, of this 26-lap race, and they want to try and wait for an opportunity to present itself. But the front two have been battling so hard in these opening few laps. I have absolutely no idea which way the tide is going to swing on this battle.
Yeah, it's going to be intriguing. The rear stepping out just slightly on the Red Bull of Jessica Ball. So take a look at the places gained and lost. Jess Ball gaining 2 since the start of the race. Remember, she did start in 3rd. Emma Clay moving up to 3rd as well. Amy Hoxer, of course, who's since been relegated from the lead. She's just gone wide, actually, coming through Cops Corner. Just see the differentiation in terms of strategy as well. Some drivers opting for the soft tyre. No one going for that hard tyre compound, TK.
It's absolutely an interesting one, but typically for the one stop here, you'll be expecting to go soft to medium or medium to soft. You have the opportunity to try and save the tyres. Keep an eye on Amy, though, around the outside. They look as they head up Stoke Corner. Fantastic move around the outside for the Mercedes, who'd found that extra little bit of pace. But into the braking zone as we head towards Vale Corner. Could Jess look for a move back? No, not on this occasion. The Mercedes, once again, at the top of our table.
Tenacious from Amy Hoxer. Never say die. Despite being usurped on lap 3, she's back again on lap 5 as we get underway on this new lap. Of course, it was lap 4 where she made the move, made it stick as well. She threatened Stowe before. This time, she made it work. And now heading down into the heavy braking zone. Jess Ball being asked to go a little bit heavier on the brakes. She left it rather late, but still maintained second. Emma Clay locked in behind as they now come through the dance of left-handers before then reaching the Wellington Straight before hammering down towards Luffield and Brooklands once more Amy Hoxer in the Mercedes still leads now by 0.4 of a second. The gap just enlarging slightly. I can't imagine it will for long as now Charlie moves past Annie Crevice, as now Emma Dempsey picks up a 3-second time penalty for multiple track limit excursions.
Yeah, it's not the race I think Emma would have liked to have starting. I think potentially not having the best of starts put her on the metaphorical back foot for the start of this race, and you sometimes got to remember, or forget, shall I say, the woes of past to be able to continue on in such a race, maybe still staying in there for a safety car, and that's the attitude that we love to see heading into events like this, because in many other leagues that you and I commentate, there's drivers that would be sat 27 seconds down, probably would have either thrown it into a wall or into the pit by now, but the attitude and the mentality to be able to keep going at this stage is absolutely fantastic.
Well, it's a bigger picture, isn't it, TK? I mean, how often are you going to get an experience where you're racing against, equal-minded people that are here to race competitively? It's one thing to do open lobbies, but it's another thing to be thrusted in a competitive environment. I mean, I appreciate it's a social race, but not quite around the point where we're going to be racing for championship points, but it's all about sending a message, but at the same time getting prepared for that stage where we start to move through and start battling for those points.
You're absolutely right, and it's as much a social race as you can call a friendly in football. It has the title of it, but realistically, every driver, every player is going to be wanting to try and win it or do as best as they can in every single situation, because at the end of the day, these drivers, these female athletes, are athletes first and foremost that want to try and get involved and push leagues like this forward, so they're always going to have that winner's mentality.
Certainly are. Amy Hoxer now extends her gap, though, up at the front now to 1.4. Was touching 1.5 before, but Jess Ball now needs to get her head down because all of a sudden Emma Clay becomes the threat, and there's only one person out of these two that's actually getting any kind of slipstream at this stage. Not to mention Emma Clay will have the benefits of DRS when it comes around heading down Hanger, and Jess Ball certainly won't have that. It's again flittering out to 1.5, back into 1.4 as they come into the Maggots-and-Beckett section before hitting Chapel Corner. Then they take the run down the long straight here on lap 6 of 26, 20 or so laps to go. Plenty more action to be had as now Emma Clay looks to tout for a move into second place. Wheel to wheel between the Williams and the Red Bull. Emma Clay now manages to move her way through and up into second now. The 1.5 gap between Amy Hoxer and P2 now separated between Emma Clay and Hoxer, as now already we see drivers coming into the pits. First stops coming in now, TK.
Yeah, unexpected from Sharkstorm, of course, lead diving in off the soft tyre, so we'll get them replaced to see this race through. Probably in range still for a medium tyre to see them out, but it could also be going on to the hard, throw a bit of attitude in the strategy, but it is going to be the medium, the straight and narrow strategy applied to the Haas.
Yeah, medium tyres now onboarded to Lee Woodward. As now Amy Hoxer continues her route at the front. Since breaking out of DRS, she has thundered clear. It's 1.7. Emma Clay, after making a move on Jess Ball, still remains just over 0.6 of a second in second place. Now, I do wonder whether Jessica Ball may be overexerting the tyres too much on the opening stint, TK.
I think you're absolutely right. The track temperature is sitting at about 36 degrees, so it's absolutely one of the hottest tracks that I've seen in a long time. Just a yellow flag being thrown up as they headed down through the loop and Aintree. It looks like Melanie's just had a bit of a spin, but managed to get the car going again. And we're in that sort of stage now where tyres will be starting to not necessarily overheat, but be under stress from the conditions that the drivers have been putting them through.
Well, we have not been able to take our eyes off the top three so far, but elsewhere, Charlie getting closer and closer to the back of Melanie Jander, who is now down in 7th place in the Scuderia Ferrari. Also embracing the soft tyres at the start of this race, and you do get the sense that perhaps that compound is starting to feel the pinch. Emma Clay getting to work, though. She's managed to bring the delta down a little bit on Hoxer. 0.2 taken off as Charlie moves out wide.
Yeah, I'd be intrigued to see what the lap times are as Jess Ball dives into the pits. The first of medium runners actually to come in, so I wonder if we are potentially going to see a two-stop strategy from a few drivers here. And as you alluded to, 0.2 is the difference between Emma and Amy's lap time on lap 7. So they are starting to make inroads as the Williams, but still has time to make up. And of course, it's all about consistency when you're trying to chase the driver in front.
Yeah, 1.6 now the gap. Setar Elva now moving into 3rd place, obviously still yet to box. Jessica Ball will just be looking to utilise the fresh medium tyres to rein in that delta. The key thing is, remember, Lee Woodward, who we're currently seeing on screen, Sharkstorm, was sat in 4th and behind Jessica Ball before coming into the pits, but now it looks like the undercut has worked, at least for now. 1 lap applied on those tyres, but a 2.5 second advantage after the pit stop, TK.
Absolutely, they've got an opportunity to try and run away with warm tyres. Let's not forget that fact, because the tyres will come out slightly warm from the tyre blankets, but they will still have some work to do in the cockpit. It looks like Jess Ball's committed to that two-stop strategy early on, going for a second set of the medium tyres after only 7 laps of running with them. So bold to see them try and go for that. Maybe softs towards the end, close as we hit towards maybe laps, well, 20, 21?
Yeah, could well be. Imagine that's probably the hot point, I would imagine, where we could see more changes. Now Cutie Bunny at the inside of Heather, who is now down in 10th place. Getting usurped by Cutie Bunny, who's just moved on to the fresh medium tyres. So putting them to work, getting them up to temperature, as now Amy Hoxer, your race leader, dives into the pits.
Absolutely. Again, this will be an early pit stop to try and counteract and probably defend from what Jess Ball did slightly earlier on. They've seen the medium runners start to go in early. We'll keep an eye on what they switch on to.
Hard.
I'm trying to get a glimpse. Hard tyres, so one stop, I'm almost certain, for Amy now.
Well, committing to the one stop. Not many. In fact, she's the only one to do that. All 3 compounds represented here in this 11-car classification, as now Lee Woodward hammers in a fastest lap of the race. That could be oh so key. And just look at how powerful this undercut is. It's going to be Lee Woodward, technically your net leader of this British race.
Wow, that is a strategy that I didn't think was going to pay off, but the soft tyres really paid dividends. The undercut has worked, and worked rather well, as we got more cars into the pits now as well. Setar, Melanie and Annie Krevitz as well. All of those drivers opting for a fresh set of boots on their car.
Yeah, here we go. Soft tyres now getting removed. You just see there the batch of soft tyre runners committed to the bottom 4 of the timing screen. It's worked for some, not for all. Melanie Jander, though, going for the hards as well, much like Setar Elvin and Amy Hoxer, of course, who came in as your race leader as the Alpine just about comes out ahead of Melanie Jander. So that's Annie Krevis, who has moved on to a fresh set of medium tyres. So with that advanced grip, we'll have the chance of breaking clear of Melanie's Ferrari.
They'll have the chance of breaking free, but I'm almost certain they'll have to at least another pit stop, whereas the 2 drivers behind, Melanie and Heather, will not have to make that second stop necessarily. They're on the hard tyres. They might try and see this race out with just 16 laps to go. So the mediums will be trying to stretch it a little bit, but never say never, as Emma Dempsey picks up a 10-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane, which gets added to a 6 for track limit warnings. It's been an afternoon to forget, I think, for the V-Carb driver.
Well, I would call it a voyage of discovery. She may learn from this occasion and come back next time around when we go to the Temple of Speed at Monza. I'm sure all the wiser for it, but she commits to the medium tyres in a bid to come out of the pits again. Great to see the sporting efforts of Emma Dempsey there. Down in 11th spot now as we see a changeover for 5th place. Setar Elvin moving past Charlie, and that is 5th place for the Aston Martin. 23.3 back, though, from Jessica Ball. The top 4 still considerably ahead, though, dare I say, remember, Emma Clay may lead, but she is yet to pit so far. We are on lap 10.
I've noticed as well a little bit of damage for Carlotta in 6th place in the McLaren at the moment. Front left end plate just missing on that McLaren. So that could explain why they're struggling through some of the high-speed corners and why Cutie Bunny is starting to make such inroads in towards that first sector, because the Alpine is absolutely flying onto the rear of the McLaren.
Yeah, Sarah Hardy in the Alpine, looking up the inside now as they dance through towards the Wellington Straight, and she unhooks Charlie's position in P6, and that is a brilliant move from Sarah Hardy. Nothing hard about it, no sweat from Cutie Bunny. She's up into 6th place.
Certainly is. Now has an opportunity to try and chase down Setar Elvin just in front. We're still waiting for Carlotta as well to head in towards the pits. The McLaren is the one of 2 drivers at the moment that have yet to head in towards pit lane. Herself and Emma Clay, that still leads this race, worth pointing out, as they come across the timing beam to start the 11th of 26 laps in this, and the Williams deciding that the medium tyres are certainly one that they want to keep running forwards with.
Look at this as well from Amy Hoxer, though. She is reeled in Lee Woodward at the moment. Lee Woodward currently sat in 2nd place, 15 seconds away from Clay. That gap has come down between P2 and P1, I dare I say, but the more alarming gap, I think, for Lee Woodward is the impending P2 battle that she's going to be thrusted in the middle of now, because Amy Hoxer is only half a second away. Remember, that was over a second, half a lap or so ago. Amy Hoxer, the Albanian, chasing down 2nd place in the Silver Arrows Mercedes now. She plummets down through Wellington, looks to the inside, very aggressively all over the rear of the Haas, unable to find the answer. But there could yet be an opportunity coming out of left field in Brooklyn. She finds the tighter line and now looks to thread the needle as they go wheel to wheel, heading down now the old paddock straight. More to come heading through Copse. Here comes Amy Hoxer again. She's looking for the momentum, swapping all over the back of the Haas, but no avenue for the move as now Lee Woodward holds on, but a better line again here from Amy Hoxer. They're going to go side by side coming in towards Maggotts and Beckett. Who's bravest? Hoxer, no, she can't. Sharkstorm holds on to second, but what racing between these two.
That was absolutely fantastic racing. And now Amy's got to run. DRS opens as well, dancing this way and that in the rear of that Haas car. Switches to what will be the outside line as they run through Stowe Corner. Looks to the outside lane. She did tough some time ago. And Amy Hoxer this time dispatches the Haas as they break in towards Vale. But it's not over yet. The Haas comes back at her. They're still side by side. And the Haas holds on to second place.
When we speak about tenacity, tenaciousness, that is straight tenacity from Lee Woodward. But back comes Amy Hoxer again. Up the inside through turn one, they go once more. Still wheel to wheel, albeit for a moment as they come down into the next heavy braking zone through turns 3 and turns 4. Hoxer through, hits the curb, back through goes Lee Woodward. Again, she's denied.
This battle is going to continue raging. The more fuel that is added to the fire, the DRS once again becomes available for the Mercedes as they run down the Wellington straight towards Brooklands and Luffield. Two very infamous corners to the inside. Goes the Mercedes car trying to get that inside and tighter line, but the Haas car planting well in the middle of the circuit and on towards the old pit straight they go once again. The Mercedes to the inside line. We've seen this go terribly before, but again, side-by-side racing, slotting in behind is the Mercedes, not wanting to try and get involved through one of the highest speed corners on this circuit. Maggotts and Beckett still to go. Hoxer tries to the inside once again, gets the move done on the final time of asking and just manages to nose ahead.
Hoxer, the boxer, they went toe to toe. She came out on top though and now leads the race once more here at Silverstone. What an occasion. Back through though, Lee Woodward returns the serve again and will storm the Haas through into the race lead. Extraordinary battle here between these two. Medium meeting hards. Back through comes Amy Hoxer once more, breaking into the club corner, but Woodward has enough for the lock and the defend. Back through the switch, back comes Hoxer once more, and she leads, she crashes, she's round. Oh my goodness. And that's seen Jess Ball now move into the lead. Extraordinary scenes here at the home of the British Grand Prix.
What a fight we've just seen for the lead of the race, and Jess Ball coming out of absolutely nowhere to try and take away the lead of the Grand Prix after the Haas spun round, the Mercedes spun round, and Red Bull now has an opportunity with warm tyres that haven't been overheated from spinning around to run off into the distance. But I don't think that Lee Woodward is going to let that Red Bull out of her sights.
Not at all, despite the damage. She may be able to hang on here, but that end plate is going to be a vital miss. And bear in mind, Jess Ball does have fresher tyres, so a great chance here for Jess Ball here to come away with a victory here at Silverstone. But dare I say, naturally, there could be two stops on boarded here. We'll have to wait and see. Amy Hoxer is committing to the one stop. And as far as I can see here, TK, she's not got damage. Just want to say as well, we missed this during the battle. Emma Clay received a 10-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane when she came into the pits. So that could be her race run.
It absolutely could. Let's bear in mind as well, Jess Ball has gone for medium in her current pit strategy, so will have to stop at least one more time. Sharkstorm and Amy could, in theory, try and see this race out on the current set of tyres that they're on, depending how well the mediums hold up for Lee Woodward that's starting second and dives into the pit lane. Does the Haas car, so I wonder if it's going to be a fresh set of tyres to see the race out, and potentially a front wing replacement as well.
Well, now it's Jess Ball and Amy Hoxer once more. The two that were battling at the very start of the race are going to meet again halfway through. As now into the pits comes Lee Woodward. What a battle between her and Amy Hoxer. It was a pleasure to watch. She's now going to embrace the hard tyres as well, which will take her to the end. But Hoxer is not done yet. Just look at this, back to within DRS and then some on Jess Ball here, TK.
She absolutely is, and now we'll hopefully try and play the strategy game. I wonder if there is anybody letting her know that Jess has to stop at least one more time, and that Mercedes does not have to be maybe as aggressive as we saw against Lee Woodward, who has dropped all the way down to 5th place after getting that front wing replaced in the pit stops. But Mercedes has an opportunity here. They don't need to push hard because Jess the Rebel will naturally have to take one more stop.
There was a slight sideways moment there for Amy Hoxter as well, so I do wonder whether some of the grip has been exhausted on those hard tyres due to that spin. Melody Jander around the outside of Annie Crevice moves up into 7th place. Sarah Hardy now up into 6th as well, 4.7 to 4.8 away from Lee Woodward, who, remember, has just come into the pits for a fresh set of hard tyres as well. Charlie 2284 down in 9th place, 3 seconds away from Annie Crevice by extension. Then you've got Heather, who's down in 10th. McLaren looking for an upturn in their fortunes, but bear in mind, they've also boxed onto those hard tyres that will go to the end. So whilst you may see the two McLarens quite low down for now, given the way the strategies are working out, now Hoxter, I think, has moved through into the lead because Jess Ball has come in here, TK.
He absolutely has. We've had a bit of an incident there for Heather down at the final few corners. Overheated the rear tyres rather drastically and unfortunately is somewhat blocking the road as they head their way through Bell in towards Club Corner. Just peels off the circuit to get the car going straight once again. But it is a bit of a learning curve, especially, I believe, for a first time in a league racing environment, or one at least for a long time, to try and understand how it all works, but also to get yourself in that mentality of if something goes wrong, you just have to let it go.
Well, you certainly do. One thing that might have been let go is Amy Hoxter out in front now, 4.6 ahead of Emma Clay. Remember, Clay does have the 10-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Jess Ball coming in now for her hard tyre set. But remember, Hoxter can go to the end, TK. So has that undone the Red Bull strategy?
I don't know if it's undone the strategy because they will have fresher tyres, albeit only by 6 laps. So the questions are going to be asked as to how quick the tyre differential is going to be over 6 laps on the same set of tyres. It could come down to a bit of setup and a bit of strategy as well, just how warm are you running the tyres, how much downforce are you running on the car. But what I am really intrigued about is the likes of Lee Woodward, who of course is also swapped onto the hard tyres to try and see this race out, but does have a fresh front wing. So are they going to be able to overcome that 22 second hurdle that Jess Ball and Sharkstorm have respectively to our race leader of Amy?
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be compelling, isn't it? Emma Clay, though, on fresher tyres than Amy Hoxter right now. 3 laps to the good, but the 10-second time penalty, I'm not going to say the great equaliser because it's unfortunately less than that right now, unfortunately for Emma Clay. On the back foot slightly after that brief moment. Charlie 2284 still trying to chase after Annie Crevice in a battle over P8. That time gap, though, is coming down, so the McLaren is putting in the work to try and, well, garner, I should say, that 8 spots. And the Alpine of Annie Crevice is getting reeled in all the time as they come through Luffield and Brooklands. So the two teams that have got 2 drivers in this classification are going to meet once more. And Charlie very nearly within a second and very nearly within DRS range too.
Yeah, interesting to note as well. Sharkstorm, fastest of any driver out there at the moment, just posted a time of a 29.148. Quicker than any driver by at least, I think, a second and a half, nearing 2 seconds if you look at the times posted by Clay and Hoxter last time around. So it is starting to maybe pay the advantage to be on the fresh tyres at the moment. Who knows what's going to happen as we approach the end of this race. So there's still 10 or so laps to go, but Emma Clay, I think, could have a good opportunity here as the fresher tyres than Hoxter, and that 10-second penalty being somewhat nullified by Ball and Woodward being over 20 seconds behind.
Yeah, so second place very much could still be on the cards here for Emma Clay. Obviously the race win's going to be a different story, but those fresher tyres could prove useful later on. We will wait and see. But Charlie 2284, of course, now making her way through the next section. Carlotta Marquis now coming through the first sector. As that, oh my goodness, Lee Woodward with a penalty. Now that could prove to be a big stopping point for a potential podium here for Lee Woodward. 4th place for now. Remember, 1.3 away from Jess Ball. But with the time penalty, she's going to need a little bit more than just that.
She absolutely is, and there's going to maybe be a bit of luck and a bit of hope sitting in that Haas cockpit at the moment, because as you said, they will have that 3-second penalty applied at the end of the race, because even if we should see a safety car, those penalties are not able to be served in pit road, so it will be one that they cannot get rid of before we see the checkered flag fly here at Silverstone. So there is going to be a little bit of doubt maybe sitting in that cockpit. Cutie Bunny diving in towards the pit lane as well, opting for a new set of tyres. They started soft, they've gone medium, so I wonder if we are going to see maybe a double stop on the medium tyres with just 9 laps to go. That would probably be the strategy that I'd impliedly set up in their commentary box, but who knows? I have definitely not driven in a long time, and I am no one to talk about strategy in the deepest at all.
There's a reason why we're commentators, TK. I think generally
Very
speaking.
true.
It's like Charlie moves around the outside, past Annie Crevice, so the McLaren now up into 8th. That's the move that we saw that was certainly pending, certainly considering the gains that Charlie had put together, and finally gets the move done coming through Stowe. So an excellent bit of work put in place by Carlotta Marchi, who's now up into 8th spot, chasing down Melanie J&D, and there's every chance she could do it as well. 6.2 is what separates them, and not to mention Carlotta is on the better tyres, so more to come for Marchi, who's now down in 8th place. Ahead of Annie Crevice is now Emma Clay, moves to the lead of the race because in comes Amy Hoxer.
That's a really interesting call. 9 laps done on the hard tyres. I would have assumed they maybe could have gone a little bit longer than that. But again, I've been proved wrong by both Sarah Hardy on this occasion, also known as Cutie Bunny, running on your timing board at the moment. I thought they were going to go either soft or medium tyres. They've completely thrown my ideas out the water and opted for the hards to see this race out.
Well, maybe this is Amy Hoxer thinking, well, Emma Clay is now less of a risk because of the penalty. Lee Woodward also by extension, because obviously she's got a penalty. Jess Ball now is on older tyres, not to mention a slower set, because Amy Hoxer now embracing the fresh mediums. This is perhaps Hoxer setting assurances for herself in this race.
I think you're absolutely right, and maybe paying dividends to knowing that Sharkstall and Ball would have paid from DRS from one another and could, if they wanted to, have worked together to try and charge down towards the race lead. So this is somewhat security for Hoxer here to opt on to a medium set of tyres to see this race out this afternoon, and now within DRS contention already of both Ball and Woodward as they make their way through in towards Maggots, Beckett and Chapel. So this could be an interesting strategy, but whatever happened, it's going to be a thrilling three-way fight here to try and chase up towards the lead.
Well, again, it's 3 of the cars that were united at the start of this race, now starting to group together again. You just see how much quicker Amy Hoxer was on the fresh medium tyres coming through Maggots and Beckett's once more as well. But in comes Lee Woodward again, a look on Jess Ball coming down in towards Stowe, as now they ferry their way down in towards Club, but it looks like another better venture through Stowe corner here for Amy Hoxer, has now placed her right on the rear, this time of Lee Woodward. So our original race leader and pole sitter has now returned in the midst of this almighty scrap over a potential podium finish, and indeed by extension a potential race lead. But remember, there's 18.1 seconds between Clay now and Jessica Ball, as another look down the inside came in now from Amy Hoxer, trying to unlock the door. That is Lee Woodward in front over P3. A podium now on the table. Remember, Woodward does have a penalty as they come through out of the loop and Aintree corner, and now down through towards Wellington Straight. Here comes Hoxer again on the fresh mediums, down the inside now as they dart in towards Brooklands and Luffield, and it will be Hoxer. She moves into 3rd now and looks to hunt down Jess Ball.
Worth bearing in mind as well, 2 warnings to the name of Hoxer at the moment, so one small indiscretion, the slightest run out of track limits could see her served with a 3-second time limit penalty, and now goes the move on Jess Ball to the inside of Copse Corner, and that is, well, all the way from 4th up to 2nd place now on the run towards the checkered flag.
She's making certainly a statement here in a bid to become potentially, when the season rolls around, who knows, this could be our first W1 Series champion come next year. And now once again the battles unfold, because in comes Lee Woodward looking to make a move here on Jessica Ball, coming down now in towards Stowe, moving up the inside, and the Haas peruses through into 3rd, and Ball cemented down to 4th.
This is still not over though. DRS will tend itself on the next lap, and Woodward's got an opportunity to try and challenge Hoxter, maybe force her into a bit of a mistake, because a penalty will play on the mind of the Mercedes driver as they continue their charge through the field. They've still got to gain 7.5 seconds on the driver of Clay, who still leads this race with 10 seconds worth of penalties, but at the moment they are not making the inroads that they need to do. It was 1.5 seconds quicker last time around in terms of lap time, but actually if you do the maths in my head, I don't think, or it's going to be the closest finish here if Clay decides to stay out.
Well, I mean, surely Amy Hoxer's got to take a second a lap here at this point, TK, in order to have a chance of winning this race now, because like you so rightly say, 6 laps left. Bear in mind, it's now 16 seconds plus between Hoxer and Clay. If Hoxer wants to win, it's got to be a second a lap here.
It does, and we'll see
And
the
then
tyre
some.
degradation as well as we work our way through. That's, I think, is going to be on the mind of Hoxer, because Clay's on hard tyres. It's going to be a fairly steady decline in terms of lap time at this moment in time. But Hoxer is on the edge of a 3-second penalty. They've got one warning spare to their name, but also those medium tyres are going to fall off a cliff at some point.
Yeah, definitely a very, very touchy point in the race now. It's going to get very, very tight. It's 15.8 now between Amy Hoxer and Emma Clay. You definitely imagine that she should be able to close, given the nature of the medium tyre, and also the fact that it is the faster compound. It's also much fresher than the hards that Emma Clay is embracing. But it's one thing to, in theory, put it into practice. You've got to put it into practice. That is wholeheartedly the mission. Amy Hoxer, though, helping her mission for a race win, though, because she just thundered in a fastest lap of the race.
Just for reference as well, 2.3 seconds quicker than the lap from Emma Clay last time around. So if she wants to try and charge within this 10-second gap, so to speak, she is certainly making an impression to be able to do so. 3-lap-old medium tyres versus Clay's 9-lap-old hard tyres. And now, well and truly running in clean air is this Mercedes car. So has the opportunity to try and charge down, but they can't afford to overrun track limits in the slightest.
No, I mean, what if Amy Hoxer abuses track limits? Like you said, she had 2 warnings, TK. One misstep, that could make her life all the more difficult.
It absolutely could, because 3 seconds here at the moment could be rather make or break if we're able to see anything further down the line. We'll have a look at Emma Clay, who's got still only 1 warning to her name, so has 2 in the bank. And I'm not suggesting she uses them tactfully, but, you know, as we head towards the latter stage of this race, you know, a track extend here or there maybe could secure her the win.
Yeah, well, they come out now with Maggots and Beckett through towards Chapel once more. Jess Ball still within DRS range of Lee Woodward, though at this moment in time, Jess Ball knows she's going to inherit that P3 position. But nothing quite like getting it done out on track, and I'm sure she would love to get the move done on circuit in a bid to landing a podium, but we will wait and see. The Red Bull currently making her way around the final couple of corners now, looking to start the next one. Took part in the Rocked the Rig Championship with Red Bull. Also a commentator in her own right for leagues such as PSGL, for example, and One Hub. And also now a racer in W1 Series, and has been a pivotal and definitely one of the standout figures of the league racing scene now over many, many years, as now Ball makes her way around the next left-handers before then venturing down towards Wellington. Moment Clay forfeiting time on time now. Ball actually falling outside of DRS, so Lee Woodward, I think, sensing the impending danger, has sort of turned the levels up a bit. She's now turned it up to 11 at this point, seeing as we're now coming into the final 4 laps.
He absolutely has. Just keep you updated on the lead battle as it's going through. 0.8 of a second was quicker. Hoxer was quicker, sorry, last time around. So not close to that 1 second target that Hoxer needs to hit consistently over the next 4.5 laps to try and challenge for within that 10 seconds. And I think the more Hoxer will try and push it, the more she opens herself up to the risk of getting that extra track limit penalty, because we've alluded to earlier on, they have got pretty much no warnings left in the bank. Next time they cross those white lines, it will be a 3-second penalty coming the way of the Mercedes cars. They've got to weigh up the balance of probabilities of pushing to that nth degree to try and get the lap times close, but then actually losing it all over a 3-second penalty.
Yeah, there are huge elements of risk here, and you've got to remember as well, there's a lap car in between our leader and the P2 sitter as well, because Emma Dempsey currently making her way around the circuit at the moment. So obviously that's going to have to be carefully managed by Amy Hoxer as well. Like you say, if she does extend for track limits for whatever reason, she will suffer a penalty, which will, of course, throw a victory in pure doubt. We can just see there, Emma Dempsey just struggling on the curves ever so slightly. Of course, she will be back, though, next time we go racing at Monza. Great to see her taking part, though, in the RB, as now we see our P2 sitter, Amy Hoxer, looking up the inside, and will, of course, not be too troubled by the RB just in behind her now. But now full focus has to be on Clay. 12.6 seconds between them, 2.6 if we factor in the penalty.
Incredibly close to finish this one. I certainly wouldn't want to be sitting in either of the Williams or the Mercedes garages, because I think there will be a lot of fingernails being bitten as to worrying concern as over who's going to win this opening pre-season race here in the W1 Sim Series, because it is going to be a nail-biting encounter as we head down towards lap 26 of 26, because there is 2 very differing strategies here. We've got the one stop being being partaken in by Emma Clay, Hoxha opted for that two-stop, medium, hard, medium to see these tyres out. So there is a bit of differencing in opinion as to which way this could have gone, and who knows what could have happened if we'd seen a clean pit stop from the Williams crew and we hadn't had that 10-second penalty coming the way of Clay.
Yeah, if only. At the moment now, we've got 2 laps or so to go. It's 12.2 seconds now between Amy Hoxha and Emma Clay. Do you get the sense that the time is not coming down quite quickly enough here, TK?
It is going to be incredibly close. 0.6 of a second quicker was Hoxha that time around. And again, just chopping and changing with that 1 second that she needs. I think it is going to be by the barest of margins if she wins this. Clay, no matter whether she finishes first or second here, should hold her head high after the end of this race, because she's done a stellar drive here at the home of British Motorsport.
Well, at the very least, she could come away with a P2 here, which I'm sure would mean a lot to her. Obviously, in the first ever broadcast of W1 Series, and we do appreciate your support around the world as well. So many of you tuning in and watching the action, as now we watch Amy Hoxha make her way down through towards Cops Corner. In the feather the throttle around now in 7th gear, and now sprint towards Maggots and Beckett's in the distance. You can just see there more lap cars that she'll have to try and move around. I believe that is Heather in front after already opening the door, and Emma Dempsey earlier on. Great to see Heather as well in the series. But it's now 11.4 between Amy Hoxha and Emma Clay. If you are tuning in, of course, big thank you to our partners, Sim Racing Centre, as always, who have just come on board as a brand new partner for W1 Series, our first partner as well since establishing. And we do appreciate you getting involved. Please be sure, if you haven't done so already, to leave a like and also subscribe and check out the social medias. As we see a McLaren that has spun as well, right in front. I think that must have been, I think Charlie just going around. I'm not sure whether it was Heather, because I think she might be a lap down.
No, it was Heather. Just riding on board with her. Yeah, lap down, unfortunately, is the second McLaren there. Charlie was the one, I believe, that Amy Hoxha was just following through that first sequence of corners and just managing to get the pass on now. But as we head in towards the penultimate lap of this race, it is still so close amongst all of our drivers. Yeah,
penultimate lap, and it's 1.1 really away from victory for Amy Hoxha. She's going to have to apply everything over the next lap and a half. This win is not guaranteed, folks. Anything can happen now. She can't afford to make a single mistake. 10-second time penalty for Emma Clay. 9/10 now the difference. It's now or never.
Absolutely is, and all this could hang in the balance should we see some DRS handed to Clay from a back marker, because never say never to that sort of situation, because we have seen it happen in series and leagues before where that front runner is assisted by a back marker, and who knows what we're about to see. It looks like Amy actually could have got DRS here from the Ferrari of Melanie as they head down, I believe, the hangar straight towards Stowe. I'm watching for the rear wing to open. I don't think they were quite close enough at the activation zone to get the rear wing open this time around.
Well, it now means that Emma Clay is going to lead on the final lap with a 7/10 of a second margin, if you include the penalty that Clay has already been given. Remember, 10 seconds was given to Clay after breaking the pit limiter. Coming in for her stop as now Amy Hoxha comes around the final corner to begin her lap 26 of 26. But Clay is your race leader. There she is right now, coming through the loop and Aintree corner before hitting the Wellington Straight. 7/10 keeps her at the top of the tree and to become the first ever winner in W1 Series, albeit in a social race.
7.5 tenths behind was Hoxha as she crossed the start-finish line. 7.5 tenths quicker was she last time around on lap 25 of 26. This is going to be pinpoint margins to finish off our first ever race here at W1 Series.
It's going to be a furious finish indeed. The gap now coming down to 3/10. It sprints out to 4. It's changing all the time. Keep your beady eyes on it, folks. It's going to be an extraordinary end to this race here at Silverstone. We are on the final lap. Emma Clay thundering through the S sections here at Maggots and Beckett's. Hoxha with the 8-lap-old medium tyres. Have they run out of their usefulness? Have the hards turned the screw? Clay now making her way down through towards the final corners now. Stowe comes first before reaching Club, but now looking to extend here in the final stint of this extraordinary race here in W1 Series. Its first venture as a championship, its first social race. Emma Clay on home turf here at Silverstone will round the final corner and surely will become a victor of the W1 Series Social Race 1 here at Silverstone. It's going to be all down to Amy Hoxha to rein the gap in. It's not going to be enough, surely No! She's second, ahead of Lee Woodward as well in third. It's Jessica Ball who will take third, though, after Sharkstorm's penalty. Emma Clay is your winner here at Silverstone in W1.
What a race. What an opening pre-season race we've just seen in W1. And it quite literally came down to the final corner. A very mature drive from Emma Clay, who went for the one stop. And even after getting a 10-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane, still brought that car home first and managed that 10-second gap with absolute perfection.
Well, you talk about special. It's Williams' team winning at Silverstone. Not very often have we been able to say that in the modern era of Formula One, but Emma Clay has made it possible here in W1 in our first official race, first social race anyway, and first broadcast as well. What a moment for Emma Clay, and arrives in on the scene, could become a huge threat for the championship when we get underway in January. Amy Hoxer, though, she will be back, and I'm sure she'll be ruining perhaps that final pit stop. Maybe made a mistake, TK. What are your thoughts?
Oh, it's so close, especially with the strategy the way it was. We presumed the one stop was probably going to be the way to go, and it was something I think we discussed right at the opening of the show as to what our drivers were going to do. We presumed some drivers would go for the two stop. I do wonder what could have happened if Amy held on for that singular stop.
It does make you wonder. Obviously, we will hopefully get the results soon enough, folks, but the podium celebrations begin. And it is Emma Clay, your winner here at Silverstone. Williams stand tall, 3 different constructors, which is great to see on the top steps of the podium, albeit though we did only have 2 teams with 2 drivers. But more to come in the world of W1, that's for sure. Of course, don't forget, we will be racing again on Wednesday as well at Monza. That is where we will be. And that's the one you'll want to watch. Very few corners at that circuit, plenty of straight lines that will offer lots of wheel-to-wheel action, I'm sure. But Emma Clay is your victor today, ahead of a brilliant stern drive from the Mercedes of Amy Hoxer, the Albanian. I'm sure will be back again, and also a great drive from Jess Ball to also deliver some big points her way as well. Doesn't look like we're going to get an official results screen, which is a shame. We're going to wait for the timer to end anyway, just in case. But nonetheless, a magnificent way to finish. It doesn't look like we're going to get it, but we know the results anyway. TK, not a bad way to start, I have to say.
Well, not a bad way to start, an excellent way to start. I'll put it down that way, because it was a thrilling race, something that had a little bit of everything. And full credit to Amy, who said even before the broadcast had started, many days before, that she was going to give us some action out there on the track. And more than certainly did she, and many of the other drivers that partook today. There were some fantastic battles for moves that were being made in positions that I didn't even think you could make moves on the circuit here at Silverstone, because it was just thrilling from start to finish.
Well, I'm just going to bring in, first and foremost, Emma Clay, our winner here today. Emma, can you hear me?
I can indeed, George.
Emma Clay, winner in the first ever race of W1. That's got to feel good. I'm sure there must have been a few doubts after the,
Absolutely.
the speeding in the pit lane. Obviously, just talk us through it. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, well, coming into the pit lane, I got a penalty, literally, not penalty, a puncture coming into the pit lane.
No.
So that took me over the line a bit too fast, I think.
Oh.
But yeah, managing that was really tough, actually.
I was going to say, because it really did come to that final lap. I mean, I bet you were really nervous, especially considering that Amy had the better tyres.
Yeah, absolutely. I was just hoping that her tyres would destroy themselves pretty fast, because that's what the mediums do around this track. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to throw it to TK. TK, you got a question?
Well, I was going to say, very similar question on tyres. I wasn't anticipating the tyres were going to, fall off a cliff that fast. It was only 2 laps difference between your mediums that obviously punctured right at the end and the tyres that Amy took to the checkered flag. So it was definitely one, I think, that was one on strategy. Was it always the plan going in to run that one stop, or was it something that maybe you saw how quick some of the tyres were dying and maybe took assumptions on that?
Yeah, well, it was always the plan. I mean, I only started practicing yesterday, and I came across this interesting tyre wear issue. So I've just honestly, literally lifting into every right-hander there was, and just playing it safe the whole race.
Yeah, well, you did a great job. Can you just talk us through qualifying as well? How did you think that went? Because obviously, short quali, it's not a case that you have Q1, Q2, and Q3. You've got to do it in that one session.
Yeah, I mean, qualifying didn't go amazingly for me, because I didn't manage to improve on my last lap, because I almost spun into I don't know, whatever corner it was. So I think if I had managed to finish that lap, I would have started P2 instead of P4. But yeah, that's, how it went, yeah.
Yeah, well, it was a brilliant effort anyway, and regardless, you are the first official winner in W1 regardless. I appreciate it's the Social Race Championship gets underway next year, but hey, it counts. It always counts. And
yeah, it feels good.
We're going to be going to Monza next. What are your thoughts on Monza?
Monza's a good track, very tight into turn 1, so that'll be very interesting. But just got to keep it clean and hopefully, no damage or anything, and should be a good race.
Well, we look forward to seeing it. Congratulations, Emma, on a fantastic win. We'll see you hopefully next week.
Cheers, thank you so much.
Great stuff. Emma Clay, everybody. Truly phenomenal competitor who has come in and become the first winner ever in this series. Next up, we will be bringing in, though, Amy Hoxer, who I must say, on her day, had every chance, I think, of taking that victory. It came down to a mere 0.2 of a second after making that last pit stop. Amy, you must be quietly gutted about what occurred. Obviously, you had your chance of taking the win, but it was a grand qualifying effort to take pole, and then on top of that, flex some of that pace in the closing stages as well. It just wasn't quite enough, was it?
No, it wasn't. It was so close, and I am literally sweating. My heart is beating so fast. But yeah, my tyre wear just wasn't great on controller, so yeah. But yeah, I'm happy with my second place. So.
Well, you were only 0.2 off the victory, so it was,
I know,
it was very much
so
in reach. I mean,
Yeah.
listen, I mean, on top of that, I mean, we witnessed a fantastic battle with both yourself and also the other three that were involved in the fight as well. I mean, Jess Ball was not giving you an easy race whatsoever right at the start. I mean, it's just great to see you guys all racing together, and it gives us an opportunity almost to see these great battles, because this is something we certainly don't get to see enough of, I think, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, I said I'd put on a show.
You
so
did?
I hope I did, yeah.
You definitely
but
did
yeah,
that.
massive congratulations to everyone else as well, because everyone did so well.
Yeah.
It was a great race.
Yeah, I'm going to throw it to TK.
Yeah, I was going to say, obviously, you had that a slight collision, shall we say, earlier on in the race with the Haas car as you headed around the final corner. Was there anything that you maybe could have done to avoid that? Did it catch you a little bit off drift? But obviously, I think without that, you were pretty much on for the win as well. It was a series of unfortunate events, somewhat.
Yeah, I think, again, it's just tyre wear on that one. My tyres for most of the race weren't great. But yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Well, listen, we asked Emma before about Monza as well that's coming up. And obviously I want to hear your thoughts on that track, because we were quite impressed with your pace at Silverstone. But obviously when we go to Monza, we're talking 2 different styled circuits. So what do you think?
Well, I don't know if I'm going to be able to make Monza, but I'm not very strong on it. So I don't know how well that's going to go for me.
So you're going to let the other drivers have that one?
Yeah. Maybe, but we'll see.
I love that. Listen, Amy, you've been a star. Thank you so much for joining us. Brilliant effort out there today. You were so close to the victory, but I'm sure you'll right the wrong at some point in the future.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. The superstar from Albania, Amy Hoxer, everybody. What a superstar she really is. We're going to bring in as well Jess Ball, who, on top of being a driver in this series and ultimately taking part as well, also a driver, but she's also been working hard behind the scenes. Jess, that was a fantastic race to kick things off, and obviously you were right in the thick of the action right at the start. A mega fight with Amy Hoxer as well at the very beginning as well. You must have enjoyed that one.
Yeah, honestly, that was fun at the start of the race. I really enjoyed it. There's some really quick people, I have to say. Shout out to Emma for making the one stop work, because I was doing one stop in practice and I couldn't do it, so I had to resort to a 2 stop. So fair play to her, and Amy is just so quick. It's just great to find so many people that like sim racing, and a race on a stage like this is it's just incredible. But fair play to Emma and Amy, just a really great result from them tonight, and they should do themselves proud.
Yeah, I mean, it was fantastic to watch. Obviously, we discussed the battle in mid-race, and we thought, well, if this is how it's going to be for the whole 26 laps, my goodness me and TK aren't going to have a lot left here at this point. But hey, listen, I mean, it wasn't just about the pace and also the battling we saw, but also the diverse strategy calls that we witnessed. I mean, what's your take on that?
The mediums just felt absolutely rubbish. You couldn't really take it past 7 laps, and I had a feeling after my first stint that when the Haas did the undercut on me, I had to do the undercut on them again for the second 6, otherwise the overcut wouldn't work. And it's just, I don't know why, it's just the tyre deck around Silverstone is very high, so for me I just couldn't do it one stop. It was impossible. But it was nice to see the diverse strategy, and we saw the Haas make the softs work, and I don't know how she did it, but she did well. So it's probably my driving style, I don't know, but it's just nice to see different strategies being made tonight.
It absolutely was. So I'm going to throw it to TK now. TK, you're up next.
Well, I think it was just interesting that you were saying, you were questioning how they made the one-stop work, especially for Emma that won it. Obviously, they were saying in their interview they got a puncture right as they came into pit road. So whether they actually made it work, I think is definitely a question for those that want to maybe have a look behind as well. But my question for you, Jess, obviously you started from third, finished third. In terms of positions gained and lost, you were probably one of the most consistent out there on the circuit today. Surely that's got to give you some confidence heading into not only the next few pre-season rounds, but as we head in towards the start of the calendar proper.
Yeah, definitely. I think there's hopefully we'll have some good traps on the calendar. And I think the next race I'm rating, I can't do Monza, is Austria, and I really like Austria on this game. So I've started to get a feel for, in terms of like the ERS usage in qualifying and the race. So yeah, it's given me a lot of confidence going into it. But don't forget, there are some faster drivers that we are yet to see race in this league that are still to come and race in the socials. So there's going to be a lot of fast people. So podium's not going to be that easy. I got to work hard for it. But yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, no, it's going to be interesting because, like you say, you touched on some of those drivers that we haven't seen yet, Jess. You'll know a couple of them from the Women's Races E-Series we did at Sky Sports last year. Obviously, Cheryl Bucknell is going to be returning hopefully in the not-too-distant future. And there's been whispers of potentially Greta Leal, of course, the champion of the Women's Races E-Series, coming into this as well. So we ain't seen nothing yet, do you think?
Definitely not. I mean, I battled Greta in Austria and Belgium, and honestly, her racing craft has really improved. And I have to say, if you're watching this, Greta, please sign up because it will be amazing. And Martine, I've had great battles with as well.
Of course, yeah.
And she signed up as well. And also, don't forget, there's people in my sim racing team at Red Bull that have signed up as well. I'm not good at name names because they'll kill me. So yeah, there's 2 people at least that signed up because I looked at the sign up sheet, and I'm excited to see what they could do because there's one in particular that's really fast.
Well, when we look at the numbers that have joined, and I touched on this at the top of the show as well, Jess, 24 sign-ups coming into this first race.
Wow.
And bear in mind, I wasn't sure how it was going to go at the start, to be honest with you, or how it was going to work out. We just sort of had our reservations. We'll let it unfold, see what happens. But 24 sign-ups to kick things off.
Well, I got 25 now.
Well, 25 now, apparently. So it's going up again. But what are your thoughts on that?
Honestly, I was not expecting that amount of people to sign up. So I just like to say thank you to everybody that has shared the tweets. I think a lot of people shared it with their communities as well. So that's been amazing. And everyone in the community has been really welcoming. So just keep it up. And it's not too late to sign up either. So if you know a woman that's into sim racing, get them to sign up, because who knows, we may get 2 tiers, but we don't know. But it's not too late to sign up if you're interested, because it honestly, after tonight, it was a lot of fun. Still, there's a lot of teething issues, but those are what social races are for, right? So we can look back at those and see if we can find ways to improve for the main season. So if drivers feel like something didn't go so well tonight and keen to improve stuff for the league, just let us know, and we will get in place ahead of next season. But yeah, the sign-ups are still open, so we got 25 now, but there's room for more, even you know. So yeah, I'm still shocked that there's so many people, to be honest.
It could be 50 before we know it. But yeah, incredible stuff. But yeah, amazing. Jess, congratulations. P3 going your way.
Thank you.
And we'll look forward to seeing you next time.
Thank you very much. Thanks for the commentary, guys.
No worries. Thank you. Jess Ball, everybody. 3rd place with Red Bull here tonight. What a way to cap things off. 25 now, TK. That is brilliant. But what an occasion. I mean, like I say, we were looking back some of the battles. I mean, obviously, we've got to talk about that Amy Hoxer encounter. I mean, that was unreal. We went nearly 2 full laps where they were wheel to wheel.
We did, and it wasn't one of those battles where it was just DRS overtakes being made on those long straights. We saw them side by side through Maggots, Beckett's and Chapel, which, you rarely see, not only on this game, but in real life as well. You don't want to send those cars too wide through such a narrow set of corners. But these two ladies were battling so incredibly hard. It was fantastic to watch the racing that they all produced here this afternoon.
Yeah, it was really special. And folks, obviously, we've got to talk about the upcoming dates on top of everything else as well, because we have got plenty to bring you. You do not want to miss a thing. This is what's coming up, of course. We've concluded Silverstone. We have got yet another social race to bring you on the 26th of November. That is Monza. Same time, different day. Obviously, Wednesday. The incoming Wednesday, we'll say. 7 o'clock, though, UK time. That's GMT. That's when you guys need to tune in when we go racing at Italy at the Templar Speed Monza. Then the final social race on the 10th of December at Spielberg in Austria. So if you want to get involved, you certainly can, and you can enjoy the social races and take part in them as well. And then we get into the nitty-gritty come January, where we will go racing once again, but this time it'll be for points. It will be for real. But closing thoughts. What are your thoughts, TK? Not a bad way to start.
An excellent way to start, and one that I hope carries on through the course of the season, well, through the course of the pre-season, should I say, and when we kick back off again in January. The people that take the time off to Christmas will come back refreshed, renewed as we head into the season proper, because that racing, if we can have that for 10 weeks in a row, it's going to be exhilarating to watch.
Yeah, it will be special, folks. And bear in mind, you can check out W1 Series as well on social media, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at W1 Series. It's all the same. You can see the links at the bottom, actually. Big thank you as well to our series partners, Sim Racing Centre as well, who we've just agreed a partnership with. It's been so great having them on board at the same time. So be sure to check them out. They can help you out with all kinds of different things sim racing related, whether it be setups or whether it be strategies, you name it, they've got it. And they've got loads of brilliant professionals involved as well, helping you get on the track and go faster as well. If you enjoyed the commentary tonight, we hope you did anyway. TK, where can they find you, sir?
Pretty much every single social media, I'm at They Call Me TK. If you wouldn't mind dropping a follow, that'd be much appreciated. And George, how about yourself? Where can they check you out if they want to do so a little bit more?
You can find me, only if you want to, mind, at George Morgan TV on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. And it's always the same. So that's where you can find me, folks. But it has been an outright privilege bringing you this first broadcast on W1 Series. We have made history here today, folks. What a sensational visit. Emma Clay, your first winner here in W1 Series. We'll be back on Wednesday with Monza. But until then, it's goodbye.